welcome to the Anna's Place podcast, where we talk weird shit about weird shit, and then we make drinks. Yeah, this time was actually super fun because we kind of did it backwards, where we usually do the cocktails with the story, and then the Pie Fairy comes in and sort of makes food based on the cocktails. But this time around, it's sort of we're going off of the Pie Fairy. We let them sort of choose the meals that they wanted to go with, and we're sort of making cocktails based on that. Anyways, this is the Pie Fairy. They're great. Yeah, so we're doing last meals. I'll turn it over to you guys.
Doing research on last meals, there's obviously a lot of very not uplifting facts out there and some very interesting stories. Luckily, we came to a point where we started coming across some more empathetic stories or folk heroes that were ultimately sentenced to death, and most of them actually had recordings of what their last meals were. And so we decided to kind of go from the side of talking about these folk heroes of a couple different areas of the world.
What we discovered is that while there's a ton of examples of deplorable people who were sentenced to capital punishments, there's also a number of times in history where capital punishments may have not yielded the outcome that people were looking for, evidently turning these people into folk heroes, or some might even say martyrs at some points. So I guess if there's an overall theme of tonight's dinner, I would say it's, and I think we should start with number one.
First one that I have is Matthias Niesel, born in 1875, put to death in 1902. This was in Bavaria. He became a symbol of resistance and survival for the rural areas of Bavaria during a time of oppression by a very authoritarian government. Legend kind of paints him as a Robin Hood type figure, though reading up on him, he's probably closer to like a Jesse James type figure. He was the son of a poor innkeeper. His first arrest was at the age of 16. He was suspected of livestock theft. After being released, he joined his brothers in assisting in robberies until he was arrested again. After that, he was pretty much labeled as a criminal. He tried to get other jobs. He could not get hired, or if he was hired, it didn't last very long. His employers and coworkers didn't want to work with him with his criminal background, thus kind of forcing him back into a life of crime and committing armed robberies. After that, he began his career as an armed robber. He evaded police for 2 years. It's believed that he would bribe farmers to give them a safe place to stay and hide from the police by giving them freshly killed game, exchange food for shelter.
I miss the days of cattle robbery.
Yeah.
Like, that was legitimately at one point in history the worst criminal you could be is someone who steals lambs. It's wild.
I don't see a good rustling anymore.
Not a lot of cattle thieves anymore.
1900, his first major shootout occurred with the police, and he ended up fatally injuring 2 officers who later died. In 1901, the police caught up to him again. Here's where legend and fact start to get a little blurry. Some say that 160 officers stormed this farm where he was known to be hiding. Some say it was 60. Not sure. I'm willing to bet the number was a lot lower, but folklore has made it this grand shootout of 160 officers storming in to take one man. They were able to apprehend him after a major gunfight. He went to trial, and it was very closely followed by the media. By this point, he had gained a lot of recognition. He had a lot of sympathizers out there, as he was already kind of turning into this legend of someone that was fighting against a corrupt police force of the time. And at his trial, he was quoted saying, "I can suffer no wrong. I cannot bend. I would rather kill myself." He was charged with 2 murders, attempted murder, armed robbery, and extortion. He pled guilty to everything except for intent to kill the police officers. He ultimately was given a 15-year sentence for all of his crimes, and sentenced to death by guillotine for murdering the police officers. The legend says that his last meal request was for 6 glasses of beer. One legend that I read said he went to the guillotine singing. which I just think is delightful.
Oh, I would love to know the song.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to know the song.
It is one other account says that in going to the guillotine, he said this week's off to a good start. During both his life and even since then, celebrated for standing up against a corrupt government. Many movies and stories have been written about him. Even during his lifetime, there was a Bavarian newspaper that published an article calling him Bavaria's most beloved murderer. and to this day, yeah, movies, stories, etc. about him. Brauerei Maisak in Germany actually has a beer dedicated to him, as well as they have named a cellar and their beer garden after Gaius Niesel.
Yeah, I think maybe they shouldn't have gave him 6 beers before that would lead to singing.
Hey, if it's your last meal, you're screwed anyway. Why not get drunk and at least have a
it's
You're not wrong.
it seems like looking at a lot of sort of before we sort of like focus in on it. I was all over the place researching random last meals.
Mm.
It's crazy how many people they gave wine and shit to,
Yeah.
like in eras previous, and I'm like,
I just want to know if they negotiated down to a 6-pack, or did he can I get a case beer? No, how about an A beer? And then they just settled on a 6er?
Right.
Or